Learn the art of inner calm. Stop being overly sensitive. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that nothing external, no rude comment, no cold stare, not even an unexpected setback, has the power to disturb your inner peace. Imagine a life where your calm isn't fragile, where it's not a candle flickering in the wind, but a fire burning quietly from within. Have you ever had a day derailed by a single thoughtless remark or a friend's silence? We've all felt that sting. One casual comment or unanswered message sends your mind spiraling, your heart reacting to every slight as if it were a storm. It hurts, and it can leave you feeling powerless. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if being sensitive didn't mean being fragile? What if you could keep your heart open and your spirit strong, no matter what comes your way? What if you could transform that oversensitivity into strength and become the master of your inner world? Today, I invite you to walk with me through the quiet corridors of inner calm. Together, we'll explore why true peace isn't a gift at all, but a discipline. Why not every emotion that flares up deserves your full attention, and how mastering your reactions can change the way you experience life. So take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey. Peace is not a gift, it's a discipline. Most people think peace is something that just happens when your life finally goes perfectly, when the mornings are quiet, when there's no conflict or chaos. But real peace, the kind that stays with you even in the middle of a storm, is not handed to you. It's trained, it's earned, it's practiced every day, often in silence and often with effort. You don't just wake up one day magically calm. You become calm by choosing again and again not to feed the chaos. Each time you don't return an insult with an insult, you are building your inner calm. Every time you feel anger rising, but take a slow breath instead of letting it explode, you are strengthening your capacity for peace. Every time you want to lash out, but instead let stillness be your response, you are mastering yourself. That's not weakness, that's self-mastery in action. Peace isn't passive. It's not sitting on a beach far away from all trouble. True peace is the ability to sit with yourself when your mind is loud and not believe every anxious thought it throws at you. It's knowing how to return to your center when the world tries to pull you in every direction at once. And that kind of peace doesn't arrive overnight or simply by reading a book or hearing a speech. It's carved into your nervous system through repetition, through showing up, being present, and guiding your focus back to what matters over and over again. There will be days when your emotions run wild, days when someone says something that stings, when life doesn't go as planned, when old wounds ache. Those are the exact moments when your real work begins. That's when you train your attention and your breath the most. You pause. You don't react. You observe. You don't deny the emotion. That's not healthy, but you don't let it drive the car either. You pause, and in that pause, you reclaim your power. It's not about becoming unfeeling. It's about becoming unshakable. There's a world of difference. If you've been waiting for peace to simply find you, stop waiting. Build it. Choose it. Sharpen it like a blade. Cultivate it like a garden. The truth is simple. Your peace will never be stronger than your discipline. And the more you practice this inner discipline, the more unbothered you become. Not because you stop caring about life, but because you finally understand what's truly worth caring about. You are not obligated to feel everything deeply. It's tempting to believe that feeling every little thing all the time is what makes you a compassionate person. The world often tells sensitive souls that their constant depth of feeling is a mark of honor. But that is a beautiful lie. It burdens your heart with every passing shadow, every careless word, every moment of silence loaded with uncertainty. The truth is, you are not required to live at the mercy of everything you encounter. You are not obligated to turn every minor inconvenience or slight into an emotional wound. Feeling is natural, but drowning in every little ripple of life is not strength, it's self-abandonment. When you feel everything without any filter or perspective, your mind becomes a battlefield where even minor skirmishes leave deep scars. Every unanswered text feels like rejection. Every disagreement feels like a betrayal. Every bout of distance feels like abandonment. But life isn't usually speaking in the language of catastrophe. Most of the time, life is neutral. It's our interpretation, magnified through the lens of unchecked sensitivity, that turns neutral events into personal tragedies. You have the right, even the duty, to step back and ask yourself, is this truly about me? Or am I projecting my own fears and wounds onto this situation? Not everything is about you. You are not a character in everyone else's story, and you don't have to read hidden meaning into every silence or every sideways glance. Sometimes, people are just distracted. Sometimes they're dealing with their own storms that you know nothing about. Their behavior is rarely a reflection of your worth. More often, it's a reflection of their inner world. When you learn to filter reality through clarity instead of raw emotion, you don't become cold. You become conscious. You stop bleeding for battles that were never yours to fight. You stop draining your spirit trying to decipher the intentions of people who can barely understand their own hearts. You step out of the exhausting theater of assumptions and you choose peace instead. Think about it. How many moments of your life have you wasted interpreting and reinterpreting events that ultimately meant nothing in the big picture? How many sleepless nights, strained smiles, unnecessary apologies, or spirals of self-doubt came from giving too much meaning to things that weren't truly about you at all? There is profound liberation in realizing that not everything deserves your emotional investment. Your empathy, your attention, your heart. These are sacred resources. They should be given with intention, not squandered on every minor disturbance. You are allowed to say to yourself, "This isn't mine to carry. This doesn't define me. This moment or slight doesn't deserve a throne in my mind." You can observe the waves of emotion without drowning in them. You can feel the sting of a moment without letting it anchor itself in your soul. You can witness life unfolding without losing yourself to every shifting wind. And ironically, when you stop overfeeling everything, you actually feel more of what's real. You feel with greater clarity and depth, not greater chaos. You experience emotions as they truly are, not amplified, not distorted, but pure and immediate. You give yourself space to grieve when grief is real, to celebrate when joy is true, to connect when connection is genuine. Without the constant background noise of overreaction, your emotional life becomes richer, not poorer. This discipline, feeling what's true without magnifying what's fleeting, isn't a rejection of your sensitivity. It is the elevation of it. It's taking the raw material of empathy and sculpting it into wisdom. It's protecting your inner sanctuary so you can meet life with an open heart but a steady one. So the next time you catch yourself spiraling over a late reply or a curt comment, pause and ask, is this about me really? Do I need to feel this deeply? Choose clarity over confusion. Choose peace over emotional exhaustion. You are not obligated to turn your heart into an open wound for every small moment. You are allowed, in fact, you are encouraged to protect the sacred ground of your mind and to reserve your deep feelings for what truly deserves them. That doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. And in that wisdom, you'll find a tenderness within you that doesn't destroy you, but actually strengthens you. Now, let's be clear, sensitivity is not a flaw. It is a gift. You have a beautiful ability to feel and perceive what others might miss, the subtle shift in a friend's tone, the unspoken pain in a stranger's eyes. That sensitivity gives life color and connection, but only when it's anchored in strength. Without strength, sensitivity turns inward like a blade. Instead of cutting through confusion, it cuts you. It becomes self-sabotage, an endless cycle of overthinking, overfeeling, and overwhelming yourself into anxiety or despair. You were not born to be crushed by your ability to feel. You were born to use it, to navigate, to connect, to understand. But doing so requires a foundation of resilience. Without resilience, you become a prisoner of your perceptions. Every slight feels like a deep betrayal. Every misunderstanding feels like a judgment against you. Every shift in someone's mood feels like proof that you're unworthy. Life becomes exhausting, not because life is cruel, but because you've handed over your emotional weather to forces outside of you. Strength, by the way, does not mean hardness. It doesn't mean building a wall so thick that nothing can touch you. Real strength is more subtle. It means learning to be open without being shattered. It means knowing what in life deserves your tenderness and what demands your detachment. It means understanding that you can be both sensitive and sovereign, that you can feel deeply without handing over the keys to your inner peace. Imagine a finely tuned violin. Its strings are sensitive to the lightest touch. They vibrate and create beautiful sound from the slightest movement. But those strings are not weak. They are held in just the right tension between openness and strength. Without that tension, without that strength, the violin would make no music at all. In the same way, without resilience, our sensitivity collapses into noise. Your emotional sensitivity needs the strength of clear boundaries, of conscious self-respect, of deliberate focus. Otherwise, you'll end up absorbing pain that isn't yours, carrying burdens you were never meant to carry, and seeing life through a lens of constant vulnerability rather than balanced awareness. And there's another trap. When sensitivity is left unchecked, it can inadvertently become self-centered. Every experience becomes about you, how you were hurt, how you were misunderstood, how you were neglected. You start to live through the lens of your wounds, interpreting the world as a series of personal offenses. Slowly, your world shrinks, not because life has gotten smaller, but because your heart has curled inward on itself. True strength allows you to step outside of that little world of one. It allows you to see other people's pain without making it about your own. It lets you witness someone's anger or coldness and understand that it's a reflection of their inner struggle, not a condemnation of your value. It helps you accept that sometimes life is difficult, people are imperfect, and pain happens, but none of it has to define you unless you allow it. Building emotional strength isn't about numbing yourself. It's about nurturing yourself. It's recognizing when to give space to your feelings and when to gently guide yourself back to clarity. It's cultivating the ability to sit with discomfort without letting it rewrite your entire story about who you are. And yes, it takes practice. It takes patience. But this balance of sensitivity and strength is the path to true emotional freedom. Because when sensitivity is paired with strength, it transforms into wisdom. It becomes a light that you carry into the world, a light that sees clearly, feels deeply, and yet stands unshaken. It's a light that can listen to someone else's pain without losing itself, that can love without losing its dignity, that can grieve without losing hope. The world doesn't need you to harden your heart. It doesn't need you to close off or to stop feeling. It needs you to be strong enough to keep your heart open even when it hurts, to keep your spirit alive even when others try to dim it, to choose again and again to be both sensitive and resilient. Because when you master that balance, you stop being at the mercy of the storm. You become the calm within it. And indeed, mastering calm begins with mastering your inner dialogue. If you listen closely, you'll realize the loudest voice in your life isn't the noise of the world outside. It's the voice inside your own mind. Day after day, thought after thought, there's a constant conversation happening within you. And whether you're aware of it or not, that inner voice is either building your calm or breaking it. Trying to master the chaos outside without mastering the voice inside is like trying to calm an angry sea by smoothing the water's surface. With your hand, you might change the appearance for a moment, but the storm underneath remains. Real, lasting calm begins the moment you take responsibility for how you speak to yourself. Most people let their minds run wild. Every fear is given free rein. Every insecurity grabs the mic and delivers a monologue. A minor failure happens and the mind shouts, "I'm worthless. This is the end." The unchecked mind can be a tyrant, dramatizing our pain, exaggerating every threat, replaying old regrets, and inventing new disasters that haven't even happened. By the time the outside world actually throws a challenge at us, we're already exhausted and defeated by our own thoughts. Mastering your inner dialogue doesn't mean plastering on fake positivity or shouting down your fears with hollow affirmations. It means cultivating an honest, calm, and resilient voice within you. One that's rooted in reality, not in fear. It's learning to notice when your mind starts spiraling into worst-case scenarios and gently pulling it back. It's hearing that cruel inner critic pipe up and responding, "No, that's not true." It's replacing catastrophic thinking with clear, balanced thinking. For example, when you fail at something, an undisciplined mind might scream, "I'm a failure. I'll never succeed at anything." But a trained mind will say, "Okay, that didn't go how I hoped. This is a setback, not the end. What can I learn from this? How can I improve?" When someone you care about grows distant, the fearful mind whispers, "See, you're not lovable. Everyone leaves you." But the mindful voice answers, "They might be dealing with something in their own life. Not everything is about me. I'll give this time or communicate rather than assume the worst about myself." This kind of inner dialogue isn't about denial, it's about direction. It's about choosing to direct your thoughts instead of letting them run rampant. It's deciding to feed the thoughts that serve your strength, not the ones that serve your weakness. Think of your mind like a garden. You have to pull up the weeds of self-doubt and plant seeds of encouragement and perspective. You have to. Water the ideas that keep you grounded and prune back the ones that drag you down. Like any garden, your mind needs regular tending, and no one else can do this for you. No friend, no partner, no amount of external validation can quiet a mind that's determined to torment itself. Only you can rewire that voice inside. Only you can choose to become your own source of calm instead of your own source of chaos. Think of your inner voice as the soil from which your emotional state grows. If you plant seeds of fear, criticism, and panic, don't be surprised when anxiety grows like weeds. But if you plant seeds of patience, self-compassion, and perspective, then calm will be the natural harvest. Even 2,000 years ago, people understood this. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, reminded himself of a simple truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Those words aren't just ancient philosophy. They are a roadmap for us today. They remind us that peace isn't a passive state granted to a lucky few. It's an active practice. It's a skill you hone. By guiding your mind back to stability each time it wanders to the next time your heart starts pounding and your thoughts are racing. The next time fear is surging inside you, pause. Take a breath and listen to that inner voice. What is it saying? Is it speaking with wisdom or with worry? Is it a voice of your best self or the echo of some old pain? You might not be able to control the first thought that pops into your head, or the first feeling that flares up in your heart, but you can control what you do next. You can choose which thoughts to dwell on, which ones to question, and which ones to let go. Master that choice, and you master your calm. Master your calm, and you master your life. Now, with a calmer mind, you'll find yourself ready for one of the most powerful moves of all, not reacting. In our fast-paced world, where everyone is expected to have a hot take or a quick reply, not reacting is often misinterpreted. Some see it as weakness. In a world that demands instant responses, silence can be uncomfortable. Composure might be mistaken for a lack of courage. Restraint might be seen as surrender. But let me tell you the truth. Not reacting is a power move. Anyone can react. A child reacts. A wild animal reacts. Reaction is often instinctual, automatic, born of fear or anger. But choosing not to react, choosing to pause, to truly observe, and to respond only when it serves you, that is rare. That is real strength. It's a skill most never develop because it requires swallowing your pride and calming your ego. When someone insults you, the easy thing is to fire back. When you're misunderstood, the natural urge is to argue vehemently until you prove your point. But every time you get hooked into those little battles, you risk losing something far more important. Your own center, your clarity, your peace. Learning not to react doesn't mean you allow people to walk all over you. It doesn't mean injustice or bad behavior should be ignored. It means you don't hand over your emotional control to every provocation that comes along. It means being strategic with your energy and choosing your battles wisely. Not every opinion needs correcting. Not every slight deserves your anger. There is tremendous dignity in being able to say internally, I see what's happening here, but I will not let it pull me out of my peace. I choose peace over proving a point. Walking away from needless drama isn't cowardice, It's a sign of wisdom. It's stepping up to higher ground. Think of the greatest leaders or the wisest elders you know of, the ones who carry a calm presence. They are not the ones who leap into every argument or defend themselves against every critic. They are the ones who stay rooted. They speak when their words matter, and they know when silence speaks louder. There's a saying from Stoic philosophy: "He who angers you conquers you." In other words, if you allow someone to push you into anger, you have effectively given them power over you. Every time you react in anger to someone's provocation, you're giving away a slice of your power. You become like a puppet dancing to the strings someone else is pulling. But when you refuse to react impulsively, you create space. In that space is your freedom, space to think, to breathe, to choose a response based on who you are, not based on the bait that was thrown at you. Now, I won't pretend this is easy. This practice of restraint requires immense self-awareness and humility. It requires being okay with not always having the last word. It requires being okay with sometimes being misunderstood. It requires knowing your own worth so deeply that you don't feel the need to prove it in every petty disagreement. But what it gives you is liberation. It frees you from the exhausting back and forth that consumes so many people's days. When you cultivate this non-reactivity, you move through life like a mountain through a storm, steady, unshaken, dignified. You conserve your energy for the challenges that truly matter. You build relationships based on mutual understanding instead of constant reactions. You direct your time and passion toward your goals and your loved ones, rather than towards quarrels that lead nowhere. The next time someone tries to goad you into an argument, or life throws a minor annoyance your way, pause. Remember that reacting is easy, it's the default. But mastery is choosing your response. Sometimes that means responding calmly and firmly. Often it means not responding at all. Every moment you stay rooted when you could have been provoked, you are not losing ground. You are gaining it. You are winning the only battle that matters, the battle to remain master of yourself. And here's another key: don't take things personally. So much distress in our lives comes from the belief that people's actions are always a statement about us. But more often than not, people act out of their own wounds. One of the greatest freedoms you can experience is realizing that not everything is about you. The way someone treats you is frequently a reflection of the state of their heart, not the value of yours. Until you really grasp that, you'll be vulnerable to every sharp word and cold shoulder that comes your way. Most people are carrying invisible wounds from their past, childhood scars, broken trust, disappointments that never fully healed. Those wounds influence how they behave. When someone lashes out in anger, 9 times out of 10 it's not because you truly deserve that anger. It's because they're hurting and haven't learned a healthier way to handle it. When someone distances themselves or shuts down on you, it's often not because you did something wrong. It's because they're afraid of vulnerability or intimacy, fearing hurt or rejection. If you take every outburst or every bout of silence personally, you'll end up on an emotional roller coaster, your mood rising and falling at the mercy of other people's unhealed pain. Why doing that? You effectively hand over the keys of your well-being to someone else, often to someone who can't even manage their own well-being. Learning not to take things personally means appreciating the truth that most negativity directed at you is not truly about you. It means saying, I won't let someone else's inner turmoil become my own. I won't let their wounds wound me. This doesn't mean you tolerate mistreatment. It doesn't mean you make excuses for bad behavior. It means you understand its source so it no longer poisons you. You develop enough stability inside to say, their behavior is a reflection of their story, not mine. It means you stop building your self-worth on the shaky, uneven ground of other people's emotions. Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you stopped internalizing every slight or snub. Imagine meeting someone's anger with curiosity about what they might be going through instead of with defensiveness. Imagine meeting someone's coldness with compassion, thinking perhaps they've been hurt before instead of with hurt pride. Imagine reminding yourself that not everyone has the capacity to give you what you expect at all times, and that this is about them, not about you. Such understanding doesn't make you naive. It makes you free. Free from needless hurt. It doesn't place you above anyone. It simply places you beyond the reach of their negativity. The Stoics taught that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Nowhere is that clearer than in how we interpret other people's actions. When you drop the assumption that every negative behavior is secretly about you, you create space to see the other person more clearly, and space to keep your own peace intact. That coworker's harsh tone might be because they're fighting battles at home. That friend's lack of reply might be because they are overwhelmed, not because they don't care. That stranger's rudeness might spring from a pain in there. Life you'll never know. Understanding this doesn't excuse harmful behavior or mean you must keep toxic people around, but it does shield you from unnecessary suffering. It simply means you refuse to take on burdens that were never yours. You were never meant to be the dumping ground for everyone else's unresolved issues. You have your own life to live, your own growth to focus on, your own peace to protect. So, the next time someone hurts you or lets you down, pause and ask yourself, could this be more about them than about me? Let that perspective be a shield for your heart. Let it guard you from injecting meaning into something that was never meant to be a personal affront. You are allowed to care about others and not carry their pain. You are allowed to forgive someone and also maintain boundaries that keep you safe. You are allowed to protect your peace without needing to justify it. And as you practice this, you'll feel lighter. You'll become freer. You'll walk through life less burdened by misunderstandings and disappointments because deep down you'll know my worth is not determined by their moods or their words. Your value isn't up for negotiation, especially not in the hands of those who are hurting. You'll start to live with a quiet kind of dignity. Not because you're above feeling. You'll still feel deeply, but because you no longer allow the world to easily rob you of the serenity you've built within. A big part of protecting that serenity is learning to build emotional boundaries, not emotional walls. After enough hurt, it's natural to want to shut everyone out. You might think, if I never let anyone in, then I'll never get hurt again. It's an understandable impulse. If no one gets close, no one can wound you. But behind those high walls of isolation, you don't just keep out pain. You keep out joy, too. You keep out love. You keep out growth and connection and all the beautiful things that make life meaningful. There is a profound difference between boundaries and walls. Boundaries protect your peace while keeping your heart open. Walls protect your fear and lock your heart away. Boundaries are conscious and flexible, built out of wisdom and self-respect. Walls are rigid and brittle, built out of fear and past trauma. When you establish healthy boundaries, you're essentially saying, "This is what I need to stay emotionally healthy. This is what I will accept, and this is what I will not accept." You're not closing yourself off from others. You're simply defining where your self-respect lives. You're creating a safe space within you where your worth is intact, your emotions are respected, and your energy is focused on what truly matters to you. Healthy boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about knowing how far to let them in. It's about inviting the right people closer, those who treat you well, and creating gentle distance with those who consistently hurt or drain you. It's tending to the sacred garden of your inner life, pulling out the weeds of guilt, manipulation, and chaos that others might inadvertently sow. Walls, on the other hand, often arise from unresolved pain. They're a reaction. I got hurt once, so now I'll never let anyone in. When you build an emotional wall, you may keep some pain out, but you also keep out the light. You seal yourself in a fortress that can become a prison. And while it's true that behind that wall you might feel fewer things that hurt, you'll also feel fewer things, period. Life becomes muffled and small. The art lies in knowing when to open up and when to hold your ground, not out of fear, but out of clarity and self-respect. You don't need to shut everyone out to be safe. You just need to refine your filters. Start listening more closely to your intuition, that quiet inner voice that often whispers, "This person's energy is draining," or "This situation doesn't feel right." Honor that voice. It's wiser than we often give it credit for. It's not telling you to hate anyone or to live in paranoia. It's guiding you to protect your own spirit. A boundary is not about controlling others. It's about controlling your exposure to others. It's recognizing that you can't change how someone else behaves, but you can decide how often and how deeply you interact with that behavior. Think of standing on the shore of a vast ocean. You cannot control the waves, but you can choose where you build your house. You can step back so that, while you can still see and enjoy the ocean, you won't be swept away when the tide rises. That's what boundaries do. They let you engage with the world without being engulfed by it. And remember, boundaries can be quiet. Often, no one but you knows they're there. They're the small decisions, choosing not to participate in gossip or negativity, even if others do. Saying no to a commitment that would overload you, without feeling the need to invent an excuse. Stepping away from a conversation that's turning toxic. These are all boundaries drawn in the soft sand of self-love and wisdom. There's an old piece of advice. Associate with people who help you be your best, and welcome those whom you can also help to grow. This isn't about being elitist or cutting everyone off. It's about stewardship of your own soul. Your emotional surroundings influence you just as much as your physical surroundings. You know that you can't stay healthy if you breathe polluted air constantly. In the same way, you can't stay mentally and emotionally healthy if you're constantly surrounded by chaos, disrespect, or negativity. Setting boundaries will disappoint some people, especially those who benefited from you having none. It may confuse others who don't understand your journey. It might even anger a few who took your constant availability for granted. But your job in life isn't to keep everyone else happy. Your job is to keep yourself healthy, to protect your peace, to live in alignment with your values, to create a life where your soul can breathe freely. Every time you calmly hold a boundary, every time you say, "I won't discuss this if we're going to yell," or "I can't commit to that. Thanks for understanding." You reclaim a piece of your power. You remind yourself and others that you value yourself. You show that you're not here to be everything for everyone. You're here to be true to you. Because ultimately, setting a boundary is an act of love, love for yourself, and even love for the other person, because it sets clear expectations in the relationship. Now, another practice that will deepen your inner calm is this. Train your nervous system to feel safe in silence. Silence, simple quiet, is something many people fear. We live in a world of constant noise and distraction. If things get too quiet, we get uncomfortable. Have you ever felt the need to turn on the TV for background noise? Or reach for your phone the second you have nothing to do? That's a sign that stillness makes you uneasy to eye in the absence of noise and stimulation. The deeper anxieties in us tend to rise up. Left alone with our thoughts, we might feel restless, even anxious. Many people would rather exhaust themselves with busyness than spend even a few minutes in quiet solitude, because in the quiet, we are confronted with ourselves. But what if silence isn't the threat we think it is? What if, with practice, silence becomes a sanctuary instead of a void? If you want true calm and true resilience, you must teach your body and mind that stillness is safe, that silence is not the enemy. Without that comfort in stillness, you'll always be running. Not necessarily running from external problems, but running from the internal discomfort that arises in quiet moments. Consider how deeply our modern lives condition us to fear quiet. There's always a notification buzzing, a news show to stream, 1,000 things to scroll through. We've developed a habit of constant engagement. When that engagement stops, it can feel like withdrawal. Stillness feels wrong, like something's missing, like we're supposed to be doing more. But our nervous systems were not designed for nonstop noise. Just as your muscles need rest after exercise, your mind needs silence to recover from stimulation. Without regular moments of quiet, you become like an instrument that's always being played but never tuned. Gradually, you fall out of harmony. Training yourself to feel safe in silence is not about escaping life. It's about finding an anchor inside yourself so that no matter how much noise life throws at you, you have a calm center to return to. Start with small moments. When you're driving or sitting in the passenger seat, maybe turn off the radio. For a while, let the car just be quiet. When you wake up in the morning, resist the urge to immediately grab your phone or turn on the news. Give yourself a couple of minutes to just exist. When you're waiting in line, try not to pull out your phone. Just breathe and observe. When evening comes, spend a few minutes on the porch or by a window with no electronics, just listening to the silence of the house settling down. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You might feel an itch to do something, check anything, watch something, distract yourself somehow. That's natural. That's your mind detoxing from constant stimulation. Let that discomfort be there for a bit. It's the old programming, starting to loosen. With a little time, you'll notice that discomfort begin to fade, and something remarkable begin to take its place in the quiet. You'll start to feel a sort of spaciousness in your own mind. A quiet strength will start to grow. You'll realize that silence isn't empty. It's full. It's full of insight, full of subtlety, full of truth. You'll become aware of your own breathing and maybe notice tension in your shoulders that you release with a sigh. You'll hear birds outside, or the hum of the refrigerator, or the faint sounds of life continuing around you, small, grounding sounds we usually tune out. In those moments, you might start to hear yourself again. The parts of you that whisper rather than shout. Maybe in the stillness you realize, I'm truly tired, I need to rest more. Or, I actually feel hurt about what my friend said yesterday. Or, I haven't felt joy in a while. What can I do about that? These gentle realizations, these whispers of your own needs and feelings, they get drowned out when life is nothing but noise. Silence lets them surface. Most importantly, you will begin to separate silence from loneliness or boredom. You'll stop seeing stillness as an absence of something and start seeing it as a presence, the presence of peace. You'll stop thinking that a quiet moment means nothing is happening. You'll understand that within quiet, everything is happening. Healing happens. Rest happens. Inspiration and creativity happen. That I'm reminded of a wise observation from Marcus Aurelius. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. There is a calm refuge inside each of us. But we have to make that inner world a gentle place to be, not a battleground. Silence helps us do that. If you can be at peace in your own company, in the quiet of your own soul, you truly become untouchable by the smaller disturbances of life. Next time you catch yourself reflexively reaching for your phone or flicking on the TV just to fill time, pause. Let a bit of silence in. Sit with that tiny discomfort of nothing happening and realize that, in fact, something is happening. You're giving your mind a chance to breathe. You're teaching yourself that you are enough in this moment, without any external input. With practice, the stillness that once felt uneasy will start to feel like a sanctuary. And the more comfortable you become with silence, the less the clamor of the outside world will unsettle you. You will carry an inner stillness wherever you go, and that is one of the strongest shields you can have. Now, I want to address a common misunderstanding. Calm doesn't mean indifference. There's an idea out there that if you remain calm in a crisis, you must not care or you don't understand the seriousness of the situation. If you don't react with panic or outrage, some might assume you're cold or apathetic. But that says more about our addiction to drama than it does about the power of calm. Being calm is not about being numb. Calmness is authority over chaos. It's not that you don't feel, it's that you've chosen how you will feel and act. It's the quiet confidence of knowing that panic never solved anything. It's the understanding that if you keep your head and your heart steady, you stand a much better chance of weathering the storm. When everything is falling apart, staying calm can actually be the most caring thing you do for yourself and for others. It allows you to think clearly, to act wisely, to respond in ways that actually help instead of adding fuel to the fire. Anybody can panic. It takes courage to be calm. Cultivating real calm doesn't mean you ignore problems. In fact, it often means you face them more directly, but with a different attitude. Think of a firefighter. They run into the fire, but they do so with training and focus. If they succumb to panic, they couldn't do their job or help anyone. In life, when you stay calm, you're not ignoring the fire, you're just refusing to be consumed by it so that you can deal with it effectively. Calm is not the absence of feeling. It's the mastery of feeling. It means your feelings are present, but they aren't driving the car. You acknowledge them. I'm afraid, I'm angry, I'm hurt, but then you choose your response with intention. You recognize that acting out of blind rage or terror often leads to more damage. So you take a moment to breathe, to steady yourself, and then decide the best course of action. When a crisis hits, many people immediately look outward. They scramble to change the situation, to control other people, to find someone to blame or something to fix right this second. But those who practice calm do something different. They look inward first. They take control of what they can absolutely control, their own state of mind. They take that deep breath. They remind themselves, okay, this is happening. How I deal with it is what matters now. Remember the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who reminded us that what truly matters is not what happens to us, but how we react to it. That insight holds the secret to real power. Because life will bring storms. People will disappoint you. Plans will break down. Illness or loss or change will come. We all know this, logically, yet we often react as if something unfair is happening when life isn't perfect. It's just life. None of those difficulties mean you failed. They mean you're alive. Your freedom, your power, lies in how you respond to these inevitable challenges. Picture again that strong tree in the storm. Life might bend you. Yes, you might bend, but you do not have to break. You can endure far more than you imagine, especially when you maintain your center of calm. Be that strong tree with deep roots. Let your calm be those roots. Deep, grounded, tapping into something constant beneath the surface. Your calm is your strength. It gives you the flexibility to sway when you need to, without snapping. It's what keeps you even when circumstances around you are turbulent. But like any strength, calm must be cultivated. You can't just decide to be calm one day and expect to remain that way through every hardship unless you practice. You practice calm in the small moments we talked about. When you pause before reacting, when you breathe through your irritation, at a minor inconvenience, when you feel fear but choose to move forward anyway. That it's built when you choose not to send that angry text or email while you're still heated, but give yourself time to cool down. It's built when someone cuts you off in traffic and you decide not to take it personally or carry that anger with you all day. It's built when a disagreement arises and you choose to listen first instead of just yelling back. Each of those choices is like doing a rep in the gym for your calm muscle. And as that inner strength grows, don't be surprised if some people around you misunderstand it. Your calm will sometimes perplex those who expect or even want a dramatic reaction. Some might accuse you of not caring because you didn't panic or flare up as they did. Some might test you more, poking at you to try to get a reaction, misinterpreting your calm as a weakness they can exploit. Others might think they've won or gotten the better of you in an argument simply because you chose not to engage. Let them think whatever they want. You don't preserve your calm for them. You do it for you. Over time, you'll find that many of those who initially misunderstand will eventually respect your composure, or at least leave you in peace. But even if they don't, you will. Know the truth, that your calm is not indifference, it's wisdom, because the goal isn't to win every argument or to prove to others that you care. The goal is to live well, to move through the world with a sense of dignity and steadiness. The goal is to keep that inner flame of peace burning bright, because it lights your way forward. And when you protect that flame, you'll notice some beautiful changes. You'll find you have so much more energy when you're not spending it on needless fights or stressing over things you can't control. You'll notice your thoughts are clearer when they aren't clouded by constant worry and anger. You'll be able to be more present with the people you love and the work you care about, because your soul isn't always in recovery from the last emotional storm. True calm doesn't mean you withdraw from life or that you stop feeling. Far from it. It means you're fully engaged in life, but from a position of stability. It's like standing on solid ground while you help others in quicksand. You can reach out a hand, and you won't get pulled under yourself. So when others misjudge your calm as not caring, that's fine. You know your calm is caring. It's caring for what truly matters in the long run. You don't owe anyone the performance of panic or anger to prove that you're invested. You owe yourself the preservation of your peace. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what others think of your demeanor. It's about the life you build and the state of your heart as you build it. In the end, calm isn't about running away from the world. It's about showing up in the world with open eyes, an open heart, and an inner steadiness that can't be easily shaken. Your peace is sacred. Protect it fiercely. There comes a point in life when you realize that peace is not a luxury or a bonus to experience only when everything is easy. Peace is the foundation of a good life. It's the bedrock of your clarity, your strength, your ability to be happy and to make others happy. It's what allows you to give to the world without depleting yourself. When you understand that, you stop treating your inner peace like something you can compromise on. You start guarding it the way a flame guards its last bit of oxygen in a storm. Fiercely, unapologetically, without hesitation. Your peace is the center of you. It's what lets you respond to hardship with grace. It's what lets you think clearly when others are panicking. It's what lets you love deeply without losing your identity. If you lose that peace, everything else in your life begins to suffer. Your work, your relationships, your dreams, even your health. Peace isn't a nice to have. It's like oxygen for your soul. And yet, how often do we give our peace away cheaply? How often do we allow the careless words of a stranger to ruin an entire day of ours? How often do we hand our emotional keys to people who have shown us time and again that they will only use our kindness or openness to serve themselves? How often do we stay in places or habits that drain the life out of us, simply because we're afraid to prioritize ourselves and our well-being? You do not owe your peace to anyone, not to the friend who repeatedly takes advantage of your kindness, not to the family member who guilts you into choices that betray yourself, not to a culture or workplace that expects you to burn out in the name of productivity. Guarding your peace doesn't make you selfish. It makes you smart. It means you recognize a fundamental truth. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you sacrifice your peace continuously for others, eventually you'll have nothing left to give, not to them, and certainly not to yourself. Protecting your peace means you value your energy and time as the precious resources they are. It means you invest those resources where they uplift and grow you and others, not where they wither away. Sometimes protecting your peace will mean saying no. No to an invitation that will leave you exhausted. No to a conversation that always goes in circles and leaves you upset. No to an unhealthy relationship or a job that is slowly eating away at you. Saying no can be hard, especially if you're used to always saying yes to keep others happy. But remember, every no that guards your well-being is actually a yes to yourself, to your values, to your health, to the kind of life you want to live. Protecting your peace might mean walking away from battles you could fight and win, but that aren't worth your spirit. It might mean refusing to explain or justify your boundaries to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. It might mean keeping certain dreams or struggles private because you know not everyone will honor them. And yes, choosing yourself in this way can come at a cost. It might cost you some relationships, particularly those that were one-sided or predatory, which only survived because you never stood up for your own needs. It might cost you the approval of people who benefited when you never said no. It might cost you the temporary comfort of fitting in, of not rocking the boat. But what you gain is so much more. You gain yourself, a life that actually feels like yours. Mornings where you wake up, and even if the day is challenging, you don't dread it because you know you won't abandon yourself. Nights where you can rest because your mind isn't racing with anxiety or resentment. It's quiet enough that you can hear your own dreams again. You gain relationships that are mutual and nourishing, built on respect and understanding, because you no longer settle for less. You gain a sense of authenticity, knowing that the way you are living is true to you, not just a reaction to pressures around you. Marcus Aurelius, in reflecting on tranquility, noted that real peace comes when you stop worrying about what others say or think or do, and focus only on what you do, on living your own life with integrity and care. That perspective is at the heart of protecting your peace. Stop managing the entire world outside and start mastering the world within. You are the guardian of your inner world. You are the protector of your own light. And there is no higher duty in life than that. So be kind, but be clear. Be open, but be discerning. Love deeply, but love yourself enough to walk away when loving someone else means you are hurting yourself. Protect your peace as if your life depends on it, because in so many ways it does. As you do all this, as you build these practices of inner calm, of thoughtful reaction or no reaction, of perspective, of boundaries, of silence, you'll find something extraordinary. The world outside can be as loud and crazy as ever. It may rage, it may roar, it may throw its worst at you. But inside, there is a stillness that forms, a fortress of quiet strength that no storm can touch. True inner calm isn't about escaping reality or hiding from life's problems. It's about moving through life with a sense of being grounded. It's about carrying your own weather with you, so that even if it's stormy outside, you have sunshine and a light breeze within. It's about building a shelter in your soul, strong enough to withstand whatever happens out there. And that inner shelter is built choice by choice, moment by moment. It's built every time you choose to prioritize peace over instant gratification, understanding over anger, silence over unnecessary noise. When you stop treating peace as a distant, dreamy state that you might stumble upon someday, and start treating it as your responsibility, as a skill to be honed, everything begins to change. You react less. You reflect more. You see things you used to miss because you were caught up in drama. You carry yourself differently, not with arrogance or aloofness, but with a quiet confidence. Not with apathy, but with clarity about who you are and what you allow into your heart. This is not a path of isolation. It's not about cutting yourself off from human experience. In fact, it's the opposite. It's a path of conscious, deliberate living. It's realizing that your sensitivity, your capacity to feel deeply, is a gift, but one that needs protecting and guidance. It's recognizing that silence isn't emptiness. It's where some of the most meaningful parts of you can speak. It's knowing that setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's an act of respect for the life you've been given. And it's understanding that true calm isn't about feeling less. It's about feeling right, feeling in proportion, feeling with wisdom rather than frenzy. You owe it to yourself, the self that navigates this challenging world, to guard your peace as fiercely as you would guard the flame of your own life. Because that peace is the flame of your life. It's what keeps you. And in the end, it's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about building an inner world that no external storm can destroy. If this journey we've talked about resonates with you, I invite you to carry this calm forward into your own life. Practice it tomorrow in some small way. Take that breath, hold that tongue, give yourself that moment of grace. Protect it, nurture it, let it shape how you handle the noise that inevitably comes. Be not untouched by the difficulties of life, but unbroken by them. And if you found value in these ideas, consider sharing them with someone else who might need this reminder. We all know someone who feels everything and suffers for it. Someone who could use a little more calm and clarity. Thank you for listening, for being here, choosing reflection over reaction, stillness over chaos, and strength over noise. Go forward from here rooted in your presence, confident in your resilience, and fiercely at peace with yourself. Stay rooted, stay present, and stay fiercely at peace.